What's happening tonight, Panthers friends, and welcome back to the PounDENN podcast. I'm, of course, your host, Den. You can find me on Twitter at PounDENN, but that's probably how you found this anyway, so let's be honest. What's up, guys? Tonight's show is part of the Riot Network, powered by Ortho Carolina, fresh off a live-streamed carpal tunnel surgery, by the way, which, I don't know, I might be in line for in a few years, but you, of course, can listen to and subscribe to the PounDENN podcast over on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, and check us out over on the RiotReport.com. We stream this up over there as well, and you can find the podcasts over there too. Hey, before we get started tonight, we obviously got to wish a huge happy birthday to the man, the myth, the legend of Panthers community. You might know him as Tacos and Slurpees. We know him as our co-host, Bobby. Happy birthday, buddy.
Yeah, thanks happy birthday, boo.
And
thanks, guys.
And yeah, Chris is here too. But anyway, what's up, Chris? How you doing?
Canes are up 4-3 with 5 minutes to play. Doing good.
There you go.
Maybe we'll remember to bring in the getting in the sin bin with Chris tonight. I promise. But hey, we're gonna try some new stuff tonight. We're gonna bring in a bunch of topics. But even more important, we have our brand new call-in system up there on the. I think that's the right of the, I don't know, it's mirrored on my screen. I'm not even going to try, screw it. You can call us tonight, 516-531-9302. That number will stay up there again, 516-531-9302. And right now, the way that we push these out, our multi-streams, it doesn't let us bring in comments as easily. So we'll try to get to all your comments on Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook tonight. But if it takes us a second, just wait longer, okay? Let's hop into a few things though. Hey, obviously the Super Bowl, probably the number one topic tonight. Let's talk about that one first. Super Bowl 53, guys. Boring, or was that some good old defensive fun?
Well, we knew the Saints were going to be a heavy favorite going into it, and I was really surprised that they didn't even have the courage to show up. I mean, that's just...
I like that, Chris. That was good.
That
was nice. Yeah. Very nice. Well, no, I'm surprised. The Saints, touche. They actually didn't watch the Super Bowl. That's pretty, I'll give them at least like a half of a credit on that one. They actually followed through on not watching it. They were so upset. So,
dude, I saw pictures of bars up and down Bourbon Street with it on. So
it's true.
I mean, anybody believes that NFL players didn't watch the Super Bowl, I ain't buying it, man. Michael Thomas included. I ain't buying it.
No, he's petty enough that I bet that he probably didn't.
Yeah. Well, anyway, though, I enjoyed the Super Bowl, honestly, because I don't know. It's some people like the offensive shootouts, and maybe I'm like Ron as far as watching football. I as a fan of a team, I want to see my team blow everyone out. But as watching two teams that I don't really have or I guess I wanted the Patriots to lose, but I like the defensive game. Bobby, was that at least entertaining to you or no?
I was blown away, man. I was entertained from start to finish. It's my type of football game. You remember many years back when the Carolina Panthers played the San Francisco 49ers and the game was like 9-6 and it went into OT or something like that. I enjoyed that game so much. I'm not a Ron Rivera type guy where it's to the point where I want to see every game like that week in and week out, but that was a refreshing game. I mean, the first half of the NFL season was basically collegiate football, and then we turned into more defense when the playoffs rolled around, which we said was going to happen. But the amount of hate that Super Bowl got was so uncalled for, man. I mean, it was so uncalled for. I enjoyed it. I thought that it was a tight game. And the thing that really made me gravitate to this game was that at any moment, if a big play happened, it means everything.
It could have been the game, yeah. It was almost like a hockey game. Like Chris, that's why I like hockey, because the game's never over. I mean, you could be down 6-3 in a game and you still have hope,
Yeah.
Right.
And I just like, every single play of that game had big play written all over it. Even from the beginning, I mean, Brady throws a pick on his first pass, and I'm like, wow, maybe this game could go differently, and then that just kept happening. Jared Goff couldn't do anything. Shout out to Bill Belichick for shutting him down. You can say what you want about the Patriots, but I think that game, the biggest thing I took out of that game is something that one of the McCourty said after the game was, with Bill Belichick and the way that we play, we don't just roll into games expecting things to work. Every single week, we're a different team. And I appreciated that because I know there was some idiot on Twitter that compared Jared Goff's performance to Cam Newton's. You guys saw that, right?
Yeah.
I forget who that was. So I'm not going to talk about the players, but one thing that did remind me of is I do think that the 2015 Panthers and Mike Shula especially rolled into that game saying, we're going to do the same things that we've done this whole year and not really come up with anything new. And I think that Denver shut that down, and Shula really had no answer for that and just didn't change anything with Mike Remmers and just expected him to, at some point in that game, stop Von Miller. Whereas the Rams, I feel like, just rolled into that game doing the same things that they did all year and expected them to work. And when they didn't work, they kind of had nothing. Is that a fair comparison?
I'm going to throw a little bit of disagreement here.
Okay, that's why you're here. I like that.
In the second half, the Rams didn't do anything in the first. No argument there. But they went into the hurry up coming into the second, and they picked up the pace a little bit. They were quicker to the line. They were throwing short passes.
Mm-hmm.
They had more yards on their first drive in the second half than they did in the first half, I believe, total.
Okay.
So they adjusted the game plan. I think the wild card here I'm not blaming Bobby for the Patriots winning, but one of the things we talked about before that game was Bobby pointed out, and I agreed with him, was that Wade Phillips was the most important person in the game. And you know who probably didn't like hearing, well, this guy's the greatest defensive mind of our generation.
Yeah.
The guy without sleeves. That's who.
Yep.
Yeah.
And he put on a show.
Yeah, in that game, Belichick really kind of defined the fact that sometimes it doesn't matter how good your actual players are. If you can just put people in the right spot. Kyle Van Noy should have been the MVP of that game.
I would have gone Stephon Gilmore. But
okay, sure.
Hightower had an argument as well.
Yeah, but the point is, it's their system. I don't think it requires a special player, I guess, is what I'm saying. But
yeah, look at the quarterback.
Bingo.
Anyway, I thought it was fun. A lot of people thought it was boring. Of course, no one here did here in Boston. And shout out.
Listen, you have the NCAA. If you don't like defense, watch college football. You have an option.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Watch college football. This is a professional league where guys are going to be more cautious in the bowl game. Guys are going to think twice before they just take a 60-yard bomb and through double team.
Yeah.
It's not a how fast I can score. It's how many times can I keep you from scoring, and I'll capitalize on that.
Yeah.
This is college is chess. College is checkers, man. The NFL is chess. It's a different game.
Have you ever played the oversized chess where
I have not.
The pieces are as big as you?
Yeah, those are pretty sweet.
Yeah, I crushed Kevin Ketchy down in Tampa Bay on the beach, and the whole beach saw it. So I just had to bring that up. Anyway,
nice.
Well, let's
weird flex, but okay.
You got to teach me how to play chess. I know half.
I don't really know how to play it. Neither did he, so that's probably why I won. But
I got
so
you.
Did you really win?
Yeah, no. I had him in check for 45 minutes, and he finally just quit. So whatever. Anyway, let's move on from the Super Bowl. Congratulations to Boston for ending their 97-day drought and making my weekdays here hell. But hey, Julius Peppers, did want to touch upon this. Does put out the retirement video. We haven't touched upon it on the podcast. Just wanted to at least mention it. 17 seasons, 10 of those with the Panthers. Obviously a great a Ring of Honor if we do when we do get that. I think a gold jacket's just basically waiting for Peppers too.
Yeah.
Even though, again, there are other idiots that say he does not deserve the Hall of Fame.
Well, there's also idiots that say that Julian Edelman's going in the Hall of Fame. So take that with a grain of salt.
That's funny because that brings up the PED thing and about how baseball.
Well, Peppers did PEDs.
Versus football. True. Okay. But did you see the whole Barry Bonds thing where Barry Bonds hits whatever home runs and they think he's doing steroids? Has that even been proven? That he did steroids, or can you prove that at this point?
It was human growth hormone. It wasn't steroids.
Right. Well, still, he's banned forever.
Well, yeah. No, he's not banned.
Well,
he's just
Hall
not
of
going
Fame.
to.
Yeah,
He
you know what I'm saying.
retired on his own terms. He's never going to get voted in.
That's basically what I mean, like blackballed in a way. Whereas Edelman literally was suspended in that
but
season.
the difference
it's
is
a little weird.
What Barry Bonds did wasn't against the rules in baseball. It was frowned upon, and I did the big old air quotes there. Baseball needed Bonds, McGuire, and Sosa because it was still struggling coming out of the strike in '94.
I mean, that was the sole reason people were tuning in, man.
Yeah, that's all they cared about were the bombs. I was 10 years old when they went on strike.
Him and McGuire. Oh, that was great.
No, that was Sosa and McGuire.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Barry Bonds was after that, but that was
right.
that's what kind of I think drove Barry Bonds to the craziness of it. To do it because Barry Bonds was the best baseball player without the drugs. But he saw these guys who were doing nothing but hitting dingers, getting all the attention, and he wanted some of that.
Hitting dingers, dude. That reminds me of that Barstool kid that they did you saw the Little League World Series kid.
Fuck.
His hobbies were hitting dingers.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking you were talking about chicks dig the long ball. I don't
No. This was like a little, yeah.
No, I remember the kid, but that's what when I hear
yeah.
dingers, it's that Greg Maddux and Tom Glavine commercial where they're in the batting cage. It's an old Nike commercial. But bad news, Canes just gave up a goal 5-5, 50 seconds to play.
All right, well, we'll get that recap a little later.
Like you said, in hockey, you're never dead.
You go.
It was 5-3 2 minutes ago, and now we're tied.
So anyway, Julius Peppers, obviously we all expected this, right? I mean, I don't think this was a shocker. I think that some people were surprised that he came back last year.
I was more surprised that he did than didn't come back.
Okay.
I'm not surprised that I wasn't going to be surprised at either outcome, but I was 60-40 he was coming back, if that makes sense.
Sure. That's some good odds. Let's move on. Ooh, hey, here's another one of my favorite topics. And to be fair, I've been saying this forever, but after seeing Boston trains filled with people singing this all day Tuesday, I think it's finally time with Dave Tepper to get Sweet Caroline out of here. I know this
is Dave Tepper, or is it Vinny Split that we got to convince?
I think it's ultimately Dave, but I guess it wouldn't hurt to start with Vinny.
Yeah, I mean, if you get rid of a song, what song are you going to replace it with?
Well, that's what I want to know, and that's what I want our listeners to know. And again, you can call in tonight. The number is right up there on the right, 516-531-9302, or throw it in the comments. I'd love to hear some songs, because, Chris, I was asking you, I'm like, hey, who are some artists from North Carolina? I mean, they're not really, like, obviously Petey Pablo comes up, but we do hear that at the Roaring Riot tailgates. Like, I like Ryan Adams, but I can't see a song in there that we could play.
I mean his most famous song that's not a Taylor Swift cover, I think, is New York. So it'd be tough to have him do that.
Like, yeah. I mean, I like the song "Give Me Something Good." Do you know that song?
Yeah, isn't that a cover too?
I don't know. I just like the guitar riff.
I think that's also a cover.
I don't think that, but I don't think that's going to be like a victory song. I mean,
yeah.
But I'll take anything over Sweet Caroline at this point. Like, give me like Hip Hop Hooray or something.
Or how about North Carolina, Come On and Raise Up?
I just think that's too cliche.
I was being like facetious when I said what song you're gonna replace it with. Remember we were talking about Fire and Ron Rivera and everyone. What are you gonna replace it with? But I don't know, man. I think the Petey Pablo song is extremely cliche, but I do understand why people want, because a lot of people are
we shooting for cliche here? We're not picking.
I mean,
you banger for the last dance at the school prom. You know,
I mean, we definitely can't play "We Are the Champions" because we aren't champions. But it's I think that "Raise Up" Petey Pablo song would fit not only just the surrounding area well as far as Carolina, but I think it fits the culture as well, man. Like, our culture is more hype right now. Yeah. Our culture really isn't the put arms around each other, sway side to side while we sing a song. Like, our culture, we've gone into the Cam Newton has taken us into a hip hop stage, and
we want to be lit. People want to take their shirts off.
I think that you can't take it off at the stadium.
That's why they don't play it.
You don't have to take it off. You can just grab through shirts like Gronkowski and stuff. So,
but what I was getting at, and Bobby, you nailed it right there, man. Like, Jer Bear wasn't ever going to play that. He wasn't ever going to let that be played because it was going to upset his banker friends, in their seats. So, but Tep Dog, Uncle Dave, he's more in tune,
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
I could see Dave getting in, getting into it.
Did you see Dave's drip with the hat? With the hat, man?
I saw it. I
was
seen it.
like, what?
Speaking of course, we got to talk about the picture of the BFF Super Friends at the Cigar Lounge. I'd like to point out that Luke Kuechly and I dress exactly the same when we know we're going to a black tie affair.
Oh yeah, is that
plaid with a vest? That's my go-to winter outfit.
I thought you were gonna mention Antonio Brown being there, who is now in some interesting hot water apparently with who knows. I'll let it all play out. I'm not gonna immediately point fingers at him or his accuser, but we'll let it all play out. But definitely not a good look for AB right now.
Yeah. I think that certainly increases the odds that he's not in Pittsburgh.
I was actually going to bring it up until that happened, and I was like, or let alone in Carolina, because some people do think, because Antonio Brown wears a replica Panthers helmet or is that a real helmet?
Is a Greg Olsen sign?
Yeah.
Jeez, man.
From the Pro Bowl, I think is what he said it was.
I can't remember.
By the way, on this topic, coming in from Twitter, our buddy Laurent says the team should have a contest to come up with an original song to replace Sweet Caroline with. I like that. Me and Jamie Pruitt could rip it up. I'll play some bass on it. We'll have Zach rap. What if we did a Riot Report? Ooh, I'm gonna bring this to our next meeting.
Hey, follow your heart, man.
Yeah, there we go. It will be fire, as I tell Josh, FYRE for all of you.
I would bet that it wouldn't be fire.
We'll see.
I'll take the under on it being a banger.
Hey, let's move over to free agency because another thing this week, just coming out, I think today actually, Devin Funchess announcing that he wants to actually stay in Carolina. Now, that actually surprises me because the way that Devin acted at the end of the season seemed like he was kind of done with this, and it seemed like the fans were kind of done with him. I shouldn't say that. I shouldn't say that. Not everyone is, but you could pull examples of that, and especially the last few games, Funch was he was kind of tuned out. Maybe it was just the way that the season went. I don't know.
I just think that Detroit game broke him. I don't know.
That's what I actually said that last night to.
I don't know how else to describe it, but that game broke him.
I mean, let me ask you a question. Right now, do you think Devin Funchess and his agent both know his worth on the market right now?
I think that they found out the hard way.
Okay, so I believe that is the reason why you may hear Devin Funchess say he wants to stay in Carolina because he realizes maybe the teams that are interested in him, he doesn't want to go there.
The way I always looked at it, though, is if Devin Funchess could go somewhere and be a true number two, I think he would actually be good.
Well, let me ask you this question, though, Dan, because here's a problem with us as Panther fans. We see guys as number ones and number twos that in reality they're like number fours. We just force them to be. We force them.
Well,
to be
that's what I'm saying. If you got a team that can take some balls and pressure away from Funchess, I don't think he's a bad receiver. I think that his ceiling or his expectations were a little high here. I think I think he was drafted into that role, being a tight end in Michigan, to be like that twin tower with Kelvin Benjamin, and then he became the guy kind of by default.
Well, I mean, you can't say expectations were too high. I mean, we just want you to catch the ball that's thrown at you. Like we're not asking you to be a 1,000-yard receiver. We're just asking you to. Here, listen. We said catch 80 balls a year and catch 1,400 yards, and 12 touchdowns. That'd be one thing. We're just saying, hey, man. Can you just catch the 5 passes that are thrown to you a game? Like that's it. We're not. If that's too high expectations, you don't need to be a football player.
But outside of the Detroit game, I don't know if I just blocked it out, but it seemed like after the Detroit game, he just wasn't on the field.
Yeah.
But did he have a ton of drops last year outside? I mean, that game obviously that was on the stage because that was his homecoming.
One thing that's hard to judge him on is I think that in big situations, you see the ball go to players besides him.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like
part of that's he doesn't get any separation.
That's what I mean. I mean, like, when they really needed a big catch, how many of those really went to Funchess because of what he did, versus a force to him?
Devin was almost like Greg Olsen. When the ball comes to him, he normally falls straight down. It's coming back to me now. We looked at it at some point during the season, and his yak was the worst in the league.
Yeah, one of the worst in the league.
Yeah.
It was like bottom half, like the last 25%.
So now that he says he wants to come back, though, does that change? Like, how do you feel about that? Like, what if Devin would come back on take a little discount, maybe not want that $8 million, and maybe there isn't a market for him.
So really quick, Chris, to answer your question about the drops, and I didn't mean to cut you guys off. I just wanted to get you. He had 11 drops last year. I think 5 of them were in the Detroit game.
Yeah, well, so that's not terrible.
Well, speaking of drops,
on the team, but
we did see that Cam leads the league in the last 3 years and dropped first downs.
Yes,
that's a
my
tough
surprised
one.
face.
That's a tough one.
Yeah,
and
Turbo just got robbed.
And
but wait, hold on. I was going to do my point, but then you asked, do we? He thinks he can get $8-9 million on the open market. I don't think that we have the cap space to give him a $4 or $5 million deal. Well, I don't think the value is there for that player for $5 million. Well, Kane's winning overtime.
There you go.
Sorry.
Great. Well, right. That'll be great for our closing segment. I like that.
Suck it, Buffalo.
Anyway, LeRon again says, what if Devin signed to a 1-year prove it deal? Who knows if he would do that?
But
would you do something like that?
Nah, man, that prove it deal to me is going to be taking opportunity. Because here, when you got to prove it, that means we got to give you
go
more
prove it somewhere else.
To prove it.
You had your chance to go prove it with the Jets. Go take a 1-year, $6 million deal. That way we can keep Curtis Samuel and DJ Moore on the field.
I mean, bro, you caught 44 balls for 549 last season. You've been here for 4 years. There's nothing I need to see from you that we haven't already seen. And on top of that, that prove it deal to me means, okay, Cam, make sure you give him opportunities to prove himself. Nah, man, we got guys that need to be out here proving themselves, not Devin Funches. You've had your opportunities. Yeah. You did with your opportunities what you did. And as Panther fans, we've become accustomed to the Jerry Richardson syndrome where we feel like, oh, let's give this guy another chance. F him, man. Let him go. Let him go. And I feel the same way about Thomas Davis, and I know our listeners are going to get upset. But listen, Carolina don't owe you nothing. They stuck with you through 3 ACL injuries. Devin Funches, this team stuck with you through the bad times. Like, they don't owe you anything. They didn't trade you during your contract. Yeah. They didn't cut you. Here's the opportunity. They have a decision to make. Personally, stick with your guns with what you have right now. Go grab you somebody young at wide receiver, maybe in the 3rd round. Keep it moving. Devin Funches, listen, his time is over, man. It's time to move on.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what his actual market is, too. I mean,
I would bet he gets – because I think he is going to end up taking a prove-it deal. He's going to get about $6 million this year. Mark it down. February 7th, 9:51
Well,
p.m.
One thing that's kind of interesting now that we talk about it, like when that Detroit game happened and basically was benched for the rest of the year, do you think there's anything on the Panthers side that says, listen, we're going to try to make this guy unappealing and try to get him on a cheap deal? Do you think that had anything to do with the bench?
We were still in the playoff chase, man. That's crazy to think that
where are we though?
Ron Rivera.
Yeah, you're not going to bench a guy to sabotage him, hoping that you're going to drive down his value. I mean,
okay, that's just that was my question. I don't know.
Yeah, LeRon just said if he resigns, it needs to be a 1-year prove-it deal.
Yeah.
He needs to train with CMC and the wide receivers this offseason to rediscover his fire. To be honest with you, man, LeRon, I love that comment. Those last couple of words, rediscover his fire. If anybody has to help you rediscover your fire, especially guys who are younger than you and you've been around longer than they have, I don't want you on this team because it's just – maybe I'm getting a little frustrated as a fan because I'm tired of here's another chance. I'm just tired of it. I'm just ready to have guys who want to win. You don't have to convince them to win. They want to win now, so they're going to play like they want to win. But I agree with the rest of his statement and his sentences. It's just the last part of rediscovering his fire. If anybody at any point, if you're like a veteran of 12 or 13 years, that's one thing, man. If you got to get your fire back before years, I can't. I don't know, man.
Yeah, and we're missing one key thing here, too. If we bring back Devin Funches, what about Antonio Brown? How's he going to get on the field?
Well, Steve Reed did tweet out all the unrestricted free agents, both offense, special teams, and defense, and the restricted free agents. And one receiver I do ask every offseason is Damiere Byrd. I mean,
dude, he's gone. He's done.
Is he?
Move on.
Chris,
okay.
What did you call him? A glass brother?
I said he's made of glass.
Okay, I'm just.
And it's not a knock on him as a human or any of that. It's that He is slight of frame, and it's been proven that he can't take hits.
So you're good with Samuel, Moore, and or
get a rookie,
Barner maybe. And I'm talking specifically.
No.
I'm talking special teams.
Barner's a free agent.
I'm talking special teams. Who's your guy back there?
We don't even have a running back number 2, by the way.
Elijah Hood, Tar Heel legend. But dude, I don't care. Like,
yeah,
return guys are a dime a dozen.
Yeah, can we not go get a guy like a Patterson? Isn't there like guys just hanging around waiting to be signed that they could get us 10 yards on the punt return? I mean, here's the thing about punt return. It's not a position that you need to worry about going into the season.
Yeah, I'm not bringing a guy back.
Fair,
and he's not going to cost anything, so that's not the point.
Yeah, like that could literally be your last move.
We just said the same thing about Devin Funchess. We know what he is at this point.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
Bird's been on.
That's always an interesting one because
5 years.
Everyone's always like, well, what if we had Bird in the later games? But I don't know. I always like that.
I'm sure.
But what if he could stay in a game?
I mean, I'm sure Demir Bird would get picked up by somebody, run a kickback, and then we'll have to talk about him like Butker for the whole season. Or
Dude, we said the same thing about Philly Brown. He never played in another regular season game.
And I actually missed Philly after he left because I was a Philly Brown fan.
And he made Cam Newton. So
yeah. Hey, that was one of Cam's best years. So we'll see. Last topic here. We're going to bring Jared back on. Jared Feinberg is going to join us again and talk about another entry in the Panthers draft. We're going to talk about safeties tonight, mostly because a number of reports saying that the Panthers are going to go hard on safeties. I don't know if I'm buying that, but we're at least going to look at who's out there since it's a hot topic. But let's talk about this one real quick. I know, Chris, you'll probably have a lot to say about this one. Dave Tepper talking about kind of the future of Bank of America Stadium. The question about a roof came on and about the things that you can do when you have a roof on your stadium. Vinyl Fours, WrestleManias, whatever. I would like to go to WrestleMania at Bank of America Stadium. I think that'd be cool. But there are people that say, football should be played outside when you're a defensive team, which the Panthers have been for the better part of the decade. Is that changing? That's up for debate. The weather, of course, here in Foxborough, places like that is an advantage to your team. How do you guys feel about the roof? Because now that I've been to dome stadiums, I don't know. I kind of like it. How do you feel about that in Charlotte, though?
You sound like a snowflake now.
Yeah, you're turning on us, man.
Yeah.
I just like the ability to not have to worry about the weather. I'm not saying that I don't like going to those games, and I don't.
You realize football is played outside, right?
Yeah,
I do. Let me rephrase that. I had never been to a football game in a dome in my life before this year. So maybe
it kind of sucks though.
So maybe I'm kind of in the honeymoon stage, being like, wow, I can wear a t-shirt.
You never had to go
like
to the
my
Jordan
snots
Dome.
aren't frozen to my
shithole.
face while I'm drinking a hot chocolate in the 90s, watching the 2-14 Patriots, drinking, watching who are they playing? The Colts that day.
Okay, first off, you're making stuff up because the Patriots have never gone 2-14.
Yes, they have.
Stop.
I posted that because Ross Tucker posted the most true thing ever that said 30 people that are 30 or younger.
Yeah, I saw that. But it still didn't happen. So
my and I always make fun of my dad, and I say, listen, Dad, if the Patriots weren't so bad, you would have your season tickets still because you sold them because it wasn't worth bringing little Den to the games who was complaining about not being able to feel his feet and the Patriots being down 40-7 with Tony Eason and the bad Drew Bledsoe days. So yes, I have seen that, and that made me hate that. I mean, I know you don't have that weather in Charlotte, but there are parts of a football game that are miserable. Whereas me being the first time going to a dome being like, wow, this is kind of cool. I'm in a t-shirt,
Well, you're just a triggered snowflake millennial.
So I'm asking you, how do you feel if Charlotte was able to host things like Super Bowls, Final Fours, WrestleManias?
Okay, yeah. So perfect. The reason Charlotte is not hosting Final Fours and Super Bowls and WrestleMania isn't because of the Dome Stadium. Trust me. The infrastructure just isn't there to handle that stuff. Charlotte hosted the Final Four way back in 1994 at the old Coliseum on Tyvola. Now, that was a different situation in a different era. I get that. But Charlotte is just not, and I love Charlotte. But guys, it's not this major metro Atlanta, Los Angeles, type city. Now Tampa's not either, but they've got the weather as their advantage. But I just don't see it, guys. I just don't.
What about a
see it.
retractable roof? One that you just put up for those events
No,
and
I don't
for
want
bad
any
weather.
of that. If Uncle Dave wants to spend that money, because the other part is he's not going to get a dime of taxpayer money for it, not in this era.
Yeah,
So if he's willing to foot the bill for it, okay, I guess it's his stadium. He can do what he wants to it. But don't be surprised when he puts a lid on it and you still don't get Super Bowls because there's not enough hotel rooms. You still don't get Final Fours because there's not enough hotel rooms. Okay, I'll see. Maybe they get WrestleMania, but that's a different level event than the Super Bowl or a Final Four.
Well. First, I want to give LaRon, because he's, by the way, thanks for sticking with us, LaRon. He's really been commenting.
Yeah,
he said he likes the idea of a retractable roof where the team has the option to have the roof open, which would be cool. And just to piggyback off of what Chris said, don't ever disrespect WrestleMania as if it isn't just as important as the Super Bowl.
Don't start a WWE fight with Bobby. You will not win.
I'm just messing with him.
I know, but fact, it's not a level 1 security event.
Right. I mean, it's it's to the point where we just have to realize that Charlotte is up and coming at this point. It's not there, and it's not an attraction. Right,
yeah.
It's
a
not
great
that.
city, and it's a great place to live, and it's
amazing
place to have a football team.
Yeah, I love the place. I love Charlotte.
Do you think if Green Bay built a domed stadium that they would get a Super Bowl?
No.
You know why? Because there's 2 fucking hotels in Green Bay.
But that's a stadium but that's it. Like, okay, if you're in Green Bay and if you're in Minnesota and you're in New England and you get that snow factor, that's good. But like when you're in Charlotte and you're dealing with rain and stuff like that, like you're not dealing with snow. Like snow's not your advantage. So I'm going on your Green Bay advantage. Green Bay is not going to build a dome because they don't want
look
a
what
dome.
they did in Atlanta. They just had snow like crazy.
I bet.
Bad weather.
Oh, I bet they had snow like crazy, Bobby. You're talking to a guy in Boston here.
Lifetime snowflakes because they've always played in a dome. So
really,
I mean, I feel this way about it. If you get a dome, or if you put a retractable roof on there, go for it. I do not think his plan of bringing all of these interests and opportunities to Charlotte is really going to happen unless you move the stadium. And when I say move the stadium, I'm talking about moving it to a place that isn't built up yet, and they're building tons of hotels.
There's
and it
nowhere
just becomes a
like
tourist
that.
attraction.
That's not Charlotte, though.
Right,
There's
exactly.
nowhere in Charlotte like that. Like
there's nowhere.
I'm just running down, like thinking about the teams in like the New York Giants. Guess what? They have an outside stadium and they host Super Bowls.
Yeah.
They're not hosting Final Fours at MetLife, obviously. But, the Eagles, they've got a giant stadium in a metro city with plenty of hotels. They're not getting a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I mean, Charlotte's not getting a Super Bowl, and it's not because of a roof. But again, It's his money. It's his stadium.
Well,
I think it was, what's his name? The Bull Durham guy. If you build it, they will come. So.
Well, it'd be nice. Maybe the Panthers can win a Super Bowl at home in their domed stadium. How about that?
It hasn't happened in 53 years, so why not?
Screw it. Anyway, we got to get to our dude Jared. He's on the line here. We bring Jared on every week, and we talk about some draft stuff. He's kind of our draft expert, but we're going to talk about some safeties this week, like I said, and I hope he's still on the line here. Jared, you there with us, buddy?
I'm here.
There he is. What's up, buddy?
What's
How you
up,
doing?
Jared?
Jared's over at
JRod
Draft Scout over on Twitter. And Jared, last week we kind of talked about kind of a top level, kind of some draft names to go for. We didn't really pigeonhole many positions. We talked about the 3-4, but this week there is kind of the hot topic that a number of writers saying the Panthers are going to go hard on safeties, which is kind of surprising. Obviously, you got Eric Reed back there that hopefully can be re-signed. Mike Adams is up in the air, probably maybe not re-signed. But safety, really, as far as the Panthers have always been, hasn't been a position that is kind of how you build this defense. It's especially with Gettleman. It's always been up front, and that D line and their kind of woes this year is so glaring as well as the offensive line that safeties is a surprising thing. But what's your take, at least, just on that sentence that people are expecting the Panthers to go hard on safeties? Is that so surprising right now?
It's a little surprising because, basically our top needs are offensive line and pass rusher, which is up front in the trenches. But we could end up losing Mike Adams and Eric Reed to free agency.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's a huge hole for us in the back end. So, I see why writers are saying the Panthers are going to go hard on safeties, but I just don't see it because there are other bigger needs in the trenches, more specifically on the offensive line to protect our quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there's always a possibility that after the first few weeks of free agency or so, Panthers might not even need a safety coming into the draft, assuming they re-sign Eric Reed and they sign a guy like Tyrann Mathieu, Landon Collins, or even Earl Thomas.
I'd love any of those guys.
Yeah, it just went from 6 to midnight over here.
Yeah.
But, yeah, the safety position, in my opinion, it needs to, in the draft, assuming we re-sign Reed, but that's all we do at the safety position, then I'd at least look at safety in the first 3 rounds because I don't see any very solid talent in rounds 4 through 7.
Right. Yeah.
First 3 rounds are where the good safeties are.
And what's funny, because obviously before Eric Reed, I mean, going into the season last year, there was Cersei on the roster and Adams, Rashawn Golden, who we all thought would be on the field a lot more in the summer, at least, I thought. But we were still, before the draft, I mean, my pick was Justin Reed for the Panthers. So it was a safety last year in the first round. Obviously,
and I think, he was still on the board when we picked Dante, right? And I remember we were standing on the floor there, and I said, I bet you it's Reed here. And you agreed with me.
No, he wasn't on the board when they picked Dante.
He was. Justin Reed was.
No, he went second round.
My third
Dante Jackson went second round.
Third-ranked safety in the draft.
Chris, look that up. I'm pretty sure Justin Reed wasn't on the board. I'm pretty sure that he got picked just before the Panthers picked.
Y'all bet something on it first.
No.
$1,000 cash.
All right, well, whatever. What do I know?
Straight cash.
He was the third-round pick from the Texans at pick 68.
All right, I'm a loser. So I don't know why we didn't take him, but I'm glad we took Dante. All right, fine. So we get the reason I think that people are saying that they need to go so hard on a safety is because that position is such a question mark. It can very easily be fixed by signing Eric Reed. And I think if you have Reed, and I could see the Panthers even rolling with like a Cersei or a Golden out there versus spending a high pick on a safety. I think Eric Reed is the big decision because if he leaves, it's a big issue. So who are some safeties out there, and what rounds? I think you already answered that. You said probably 1 to 3, but I mean, you think that after a third round, there's no safety coming? Who are these names that you're talking about in the first 3 rounds?
My favorite safety in the draft. I've been high on him. If you've looked at my timeline over the past few weeks or past month or so, I've been high on Delaware safety Nazir Adelaire. He is currently my 12th overall prospect, a top 15 prospect.
And a name that rhymes, too. That's a big deal. When your name rhymes, it's really cool. Go ahead, Jared.
Very. He has exceptional range, closing bursts. He has a great understanding of concepts and schemes, very fluid and agile, and plus he's a great athlete. He is the perfect guy for the Panthers as a free safety, and if he were drafted at 16, I think he'd make an immediate impact from day one. Another guy is probably a name everyone really knows is Deontay Thompson. I hyped up to be the best safety in the draft. Right now, of course, I have Adelaire, but Thompson has great size, length, speed. He's physical, very athletic. Like Adelaire, great closing burst. mental processing in terms of route recognition, etc., is a little bit of a concern. If you saw the national championship game, he was staring at the quarterback the entire time, and he let a 70-yard bomb happen behind him. But overall,
not ideal.
Upside says no. But his upside and ceiling, they say very good safety or even a Pro Bowler at the next level. Another guy that could be very versatile for the Panthers defense is Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, a fan favorite around the media early on in the season when people were just flying out mock drafts for what it's worth just to get people to know the prospects for the upcoming draft. Like Adelaire and Thompson. They have great range. He has great range, ball skills, and he may be the best man-to-man cover safety in the draft. Incredible athlete, very versatile.
Into that.
And he, if you want him to, you can move him at nickelback, and he can move either way.
Well, let me ask you this, Jared, because
go ahead, Bobby.
Let me ask you this question really quick, because it makes me wonder: do these names change, and do these options for selections in the draft change if Carolina does in fact move to a 3-4 defense?
I don't see really a change in terms of looking at safeties. If the Panthers were to move to a 3-4 defense, I don't think it would really make a difference. But like I said when I was on a couple weeks ago, I think the only positions you'd really have to really look at and change if you were a draft analyst or someone on the Panthers management looking at the draft, pass rusher in the trenches, and linebacker, outside linebacker. You got to look at those guys. But safety is not really a concern if they were to move to a 3-4 defense.
Good. Okay.
All right. So Jared, kind of the last question here. How does the depth chart in your mind realistically shape up? Because there's that question mark of what the hell is Rashawn Golden's role on the Panthers? There is who's going to sign. There is the free agents that you named out there. And there's, of course, these guys in the draft. If you pull out your crystal ball here and kind of get what is likely to happen, what does that Panthers depth chart look like, and as far as safeties?
I want to assume that after the offseason, this is what I see. Eric Reeves re-signed. Panthers decide we're not going to go after a safety in free agency. We're just going to see what we can find in the draft. And they end up with someone like recently hyped over the past few days in the draft Twitterverse, Amani Hooker, who's the classic strong safety you want on your defense. He can make plays at the line of scrimmage. He's very smart in coverage. He's not the most athletic guy, but he's the guy you want as strong safety. And I think in the right spot, and I think Carolina could be the right spot for him. He would be a starter right away, but right now he'd be more like a third-round pick because there's so much depth at other positions. And if I did forget to mention, he is from Iowa.
Okay. I mean, that's ideal to me. It is not, going so high on a safety, but realizing that it's not a bad, at least, backup plan to have one. So, interesting. Right. And anyway, Jared, thanks for coming on with us. We have Jared on each week now. We bring him on kind of, and we keep it short. Now, I think my thing was the elementary draft thing. We'll kind of attack one position at a time without just throwing out a ton of names out there. Yeah. Last week, we talked about kind of the top guys and how the 3-4 defense could affect this. This week, of course, the safeties is the big topic. We'll bring you on next week. We'll talk about, I haven't decided yet. We'll figure it out. Usually I text Jared the night before, and he comes up with some nice, prepared notes as to what we want to talk about. So, Jared, I'll contact you next week. We'll bring you back on, and we'll attack another position, man. Well, how's that sound?
That sounds good, man. I'm excited to be back on next week.
Love it. Again, that's Jared Feinberg. He's over on Twitter, does some great write-ups, and especially when the Senior Bowl was going on. Go check him out on Twitter, at JRod Draft Scout. And we're pumped to have him on here each week. So, Jared, we'll talk to you next week. All right, man?
All right. See you guys.
Peace.
Appreciate you, Jared.
All right, cool stuff from Jared this week. Hey, before we go, we got a couple more things to talk about. Chris, I was going to do it the very last thing, but since I think that it sounds like they just won a big game. Why don't you go?
Were you listening?
Yeah, why don't you go ahead and give us some information as to what's going on in the land of the Carolina Hurricanes?
All right, so it's been a few weeks. We've been on, a little bit of a, our season's been over, so a bit of a break. But Canes are on a roll, guys. Don't look now, but we're 1 point out of the playoffs. And the team's looking good. The goalies are standing on their heads. Aho played on the team that won the All-Star game last week, so that was a cool $1 million in his pocket.
That happens? That's a real thing?
Yeah, so in the All-Star game, because nobody cares about All-Star games anymore, they switched the NHL to 3-on-3, and it's all divisional play. So think of it, you're paired up like the Pacific plays the Atlantic or the Metro plays the Central, whatever. The two highest scoring teams that win go into the finals, and they split, what is it, $10 million? I think something like that. It's It's a healthy amount of money that they split between the 10 guys.
Okay.
Well, two questions for you, Chris.
Hit me.
Why can't the Canes beat the Flames?
Okay, so I'm glad you asked. The Canes and the Flames only play twice a year because they're Western Conference. Mm-hmm. The Flames are currently in first place in the West by a pretty healthy margin. I think I don't really pay much attention to the Western Conference standings, but they're either first or second in the West and maybe second or third in the league behind Tampa. Part of what people are so attracted to that rivalry now is because the coach we had for the 4 years going into the season opted out of his contract to go become the Flames coach. Most Canes fans were fine with that. I was fine with that. He was from Alberta. Let him go home, whatever. Mm-hmm. Let's start from scratch. The other part of that is we made a draft day trade where we traded 2 former number 4 picks, Elias Lindholm and Noah Hannafin. Hannafin was a stay-at-home defenseman. He was never going to be worth the number 4 pick where we took him. Lindholm had all the talent in the world, kind of like somebody we were just talking about, but just couldn't get his head out of his ass. Like, I don't know how else to put it.
Yeah.
He never had more than 50 points with the Canes, and his first season in Calgary with 25 games to go, he's already got 60 points. So it's like he got paid, took it to another level. He's playing with better players too, and that's the other part. Bill Peters went to a really good situation in Calgary. They already had Johnny Gaudreau, who's probably going to win the Hart Trophy this year. Mike Giordano is probably going to win the Norris. I mean, they've got a lot of good veteran players. So, long story short, they're a better team.
I mean, They were close games, but
yeah. Well, we had no business taking the one in Calgary to shootouts 2 weeks ago, right before the All-Star game. But the last one, I feel like they just kind of ate our lunch. And in fact, all the goals scored in that game against us were by the guys we traded to them. So
prediction against the Rangers.
We haven't won in New York in 16 straight games.
God damn.
Wait, what?
Yeah, 60, and they're in our conference, so we play them more than twice a year. So I think they get it done tomorrow night because I think this is tonight was 4 in a row for us. I think they get the job done tomorrow night in New York.
I'm gonna watch it. I'm actually gonna watch that tomorrow night.
Hey, by the way, I rudely cut Jared off. He did wish you a happy birthday, Bobby. So that was on me. But
hey, Jared, thanks a lot, Jared.
Yeah,
I appreciate it,
definitely threw that in. Hey, before we go, I do have. I'm assuming that's the end of your.
No, I wasn't even close to done.
Oh, okay. Go ahead. I was just figuring that you paused there, so you gave me the go. Go ahead and finish that up. I'll work on our next segment, which we're gonna bring on some fan questions / topics. So this is actually a good time. While Chris is talking about hockey, and you may or may not care about it, go ahead and send us some questions. We'll bring some on the air. But go ahead, Chris. Finish your thought.
Okay, I'm done. No,
Chris.
but most importantly, and in this winning streak we're on right now, what's tonight? Thursday, Tuesday night, the Canes went to Pittsburgh, which has been just a house of horrors for us. Peter Mrazek had been playing really well, but he got the bench for this game for Curtis McElhaney, who is a 35-year-old journeyman through his 9th career shutout and set his career mark for wins in a season, and just really. It was a statement win as much as it was a statement loss for the Penguins. So keep the good times rolling. Canes in New York tomorrow night, Fox Sports South, Channel 50, I believe, for those of you in the Carolinas.
There you go.
You guys got your first shutout in that game, right?
He got his first shutout. We've had Mrazek, I think, has had one other one this year.
Okay, got you.
But that was McElhaney's first of the year in his 9th career.
Okay.
But the game tonight, man, Buffalo and Carolina were tied going into the game in points. And Buffalo unfortunately did get the 1 point for taking it to overtime, which they really had no business doing. But the Canes got thoroughly outplayed tonight. The Sabres were the better team on the ice, but they found a way to win. And that's what you want. Yeah, that's what you want to see this time of the year. They're trending upward. Everybody else in front of them outside of, Tampa and the Islanders are trending backwards. So hopefully they can get it done and break the playoff streak. And we've got the trade deadline coming up in 2 weeks. So hopefully they make some moves. They got a lot of ammo and they got a lot of cap space. So
nice.
Here's to hoping. I'm done now, Dan.
I like it. And hey, shout out to the Canes and shout out to Dan over there who does a great job too. So yeah, I've been following, man. That's good. It's good. Good that you bring that on. So we forgot to do that last week, so I gave you more than 2 minutes this week. How's that?
The Whalers are playing in Boston.
They are
next month.
They are. I'll see if I can go to that. We'll see.
I'm sure all those salty New Englanders are going to be.
Well, yeah, they're
pretty excited to see those green jerseys.
Well, now I got so pissed last year, but it was like last year they posted before anyone played, before any season started. It said, could we see the Grand Slam in Boston? Bruins, Celtics, Patriots,
No,
Red Sox.
I meant salty because they're wearing the Whalers jerseys again.
That too, but I'm saying the other part of it is now...
No, the Bruins are not going to win.
Well, let me just... What I'm going for is now everyone is like gung-ho on the Celtics and the Bruins doing well.
Sure.
Even if they weren't watching one game, they're like, oh my God, now we're gonna win. We're gonna win all 4. Yeah. And now the article came out on Boston.com, and it's like literally the most annoying thing in my life. Anyway, one thing that we did throw out there last week was some questions. We actually throw it out every week. What am I talking about? And we do get some sweet fan-submitted questions. I hate saying fans. Why did I say that? Friends. They're our friends. And we bring them on the air. Yeah, so let's just go through a couple here. Some of them are fun. Some of them are serious. I have no idea what order these are in, so let's pull this one up. Cool. Our friend Anna Banana, as you say, Bobby.
Anna Banana.
Wants to know, and I'm going to read it in my best Anna impression, how do y'all, there's a y'all in there, feel about pass interference being reviewable?
Don't want it.
Don't want it. I don't want to see it. Don't want it.
Listen, I'm fine if you have to challenge it.
Well, see,
nope.
You only get a maximum of 3 challenges.
But then here's the
thing.
So
if you want to waste one on that call, whatever.
But when you start doing that, what happens if somebody, I don't know, it's 2 seconds left on the clock, and you just say, "Oh my gosh, let me just throw my flag," or not 2 seconds because you can't challenge that. But what is like 2 minutes and 5 seconds left? You just throw your flag just because you hope, and it's like 4th down, and you're like, "I hope they find something." And there's really nothing to be reviewed, but you're like, oh, it's pass interference on that play. And then you just hope, and then they happen to find something.
I mean, I get that scenario.
Like, it's just too – can you imagine how many coaches are going to say, oh, that was 4th down, I'm just going to throw it and hope that they find something.
It's recency bias, man. That's
fair. That example, Bobby, is good. I agree with you. But my point is, like, if you can only – throughout the whole game, if you can only challenge – 3 total things if you win the other 2, because my thing is like, if you have a challenge left with 2 minutes and 5 seconds, Bobby, aren't you gonna throw that on a lot of things?
Yeah, that's my point. That's why I don't think you.
No, but I'm saying pass interference aside.
You're opening up Pandora's box here.
You are.
Then you're going to challenge offsides, and you're going to challenge holding. then you're going to. I mean, what else can you?
Because holding on every play.
Okay.
Because
This is
that's a whole
slippery,
second part of it, though.
But dude, this is the first step down that path.
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
I mean,
so
I'm not.
This is
don't
the
get me
gateway
wrong.
drug, if you will.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I understand why people want
I get
it,
that.
and you see the Michael Thomas situation, and you say, well, what he keeps bringing up anyway, and you say, okay, we get it. It should have been called pass interference, but some things aren't called, just like there's holding on every play. And eventually some offensive linemen are going to say, oh, so guys can just complain and then you make it a rule where we're going to start complaining every, and it just, to me, it's you just start going down a rabbit hole. I mean, listen, man.
But my point is you still have a limited number. And 3 is the number.
One is too many to challenge that.
But out of the whole football game,
dude, but
you only can do it through. We'll say twice because that's only if you win both.
No,
I don't mind it. I really don't mind it. I don't mind it.
Does every play get stopped for review inside of 2 minutes?
Right.
Because there was a little contact, and we need to review this.
Okay.
And no. If a play is reviewable inside of 2 minutes, the challenge comes from above. So are they stopping every completion?
That's something I didn't think about. I thought about you having to actually.
Yeah, you didn't think, did you?
I mean, I have never thought. So I don't know. I get it. I'm not on the team that's like, no, 100% no. Like I can see it. I can see a value of it happening, and I can see times where it should be challenged.
Bobby, why does this seem so familiar? Me and you on the right side and Den on the wrong side.
Someone's got to be the villain, dude. You gotta.
Well, I mean,
there's no skip. There's no.
There's your way, and there's something we like to call the right way.
There's no Skip and Shannon if someone doesn't have a terrible opinion, So anyway,
that's fair.
I don't mind it, but okay, fine. You guys have actually brought 2 significant things to my attention that I didn't think about.
As we know,
I'll give you that. And Anna, let us know if you listen to this. Let us know how you think because
definitely.
I want to know your opinion too. So. Let's go to another one.
Says Anna's on our side.
This is a hypothetical, and this actually kind of honestly brings a serious point. But our buddy Cheeto says, "Hey guys, you're on a sinking ship with a Falcons fan and a Saints fan. You can only save one with your 2-person life raft. Which one do you save?" And more, I guess, PC question is, who do you tolerate more, Saints fans or Falcons fans? And I'll only start this one because I said
PC is your show. You don't have to be PC.
Right. Well, I'm saying that to rephrase that in a less grim way of letting one die. I mean, come on. But I like the question because I always said that being in Boston, I had no geographical reason to have a rival. Right. I mean, you're obviously in Charlotte closer to Atlanta, I think. Right.
Yeah, it's only like 2.5 hours.
Whatever. So. That is obvious.
I think somebody's going to correct.
That's what builds a rival. But like to me, from the time I became a Panthers fan, the Saints were the team that I always hated more, just because of obviously the bounties, the Roman Harper situation with Steve Smith in the end zone, and the Falcons just over in the history weren't good. I mean, I just never.
Saints.
I know, but I never really cared about them, and so, however, going to the games. Granted, the week 2 is very different than a week 17 clinched nothing to gain, game. Falcons fans were like 100% worse to deal with. Like one kid gave me like the Fortnite L dance, like as I was leaving the game, and it was my first time riding the bird. Remember we were on the scooter, Chris? So I had to concentrate, and I got really mad, and I didn't want to fall over on the bird, so I didn't do anything. But like leaving that game was absolutely miserable. Every single person was like a dick. And then the Saints game, we sat down with like some really cool people and had an actual good conversation. And New Orleans is just like such a fun city that we were actually able to have fun. Like I was like, wow.
Are you a Saints fan now?
No, so I was like,
sounds like it.
So I was like, well, wow, maybe I'm like coming around. I don't really know what's going on.
Okay,
but then this whole Super Bowl thing, may have shifted it again. Go ahead.
All right, Fox News Den, you're not telling the whole story. didn't you also throw in when you told me this story? It's like, but yeah, they knew they had nothing to play for. They were locked
That's
up.
what I just said.
I
said that at the beginning of that.
There was nothing at stake here.
But then when I saw the Super Bowl Rams thing and how ridiculous, and the other part of it is I don't actually know, like personally, any Falcons fans, and I know a Saints fan, and he's the most annoying person in my life. So that's why I didn't like the Saints. So maybe me not knowing Falcons fans, like maybe I'm not maybe it's not a fair comparison here. So what do you guys think? So to answer the question, I'm torn now because the Saints fans are so annoying with this whole Rams thing.
Yeah, that's not going anywhere anytime soon.
But Falcons fans were like way, way more rude and like just literally had to tell every Panthers fan that they lost that game. And like you literally couldn't talk to any of them like about anything. They were just all like combative. So I'm still going with I'll keep the Saints fan with me. I don't know. That's just me. What do you guys think?
Pass.
I mean, I'm taking. I mean, if I got 2 life rafts, I'm probably gonna take both for myself in case in case something crazy happens, like I accidentally popped the first one. I mean, listen, man. I mean, when you're talking about
do the Titanic, right? Fit one person on the 2-person raft.
There you go. I mean, I might run into a kid who needs one, and I'll give it away. But I mean, listen, man. It's just I don't care about either one of them. Just being honest with you, those both fans can kick rocks. I mean, I don't care how nice they are when you see them in person. We know what they're saying behind our backs, so forget them all. I don't save anybody.
All right, great answer, great non-answer to the question. I mean, I'm assuming Chris, you'll have the same answer. I at least tried to answer Cheeto's question here.
I'm all about that like lazy river life that you get in Myrtle Beach. And you can't be in a lazy river if you don't prop your legs up. So I would have one float under my ass and one under my feet.
Okay.
And just, living life.
But I guess, okay, fine. Let me rephrase the question this way because I honestly want to know from both of you, who can you tolerate more? And I know it's probably 0 and 0.1%, but who gets the 0.1%? From you, Bobby. Chris. We'll start with you, Chris.
Sorry, go Bobby.
All right, let's go.
It's your birthday.
It's your birthday. Go. Yeah, it's your birthday.
Well, I can tolerate Falcons fans far more.
Really? Okay.
I mean, the answer's simple. They can't say anything about us that we can't say to them. You want to joke about Super Bowls? Let's joke.
Yeah,
you want to joke about
the Saints having a Super Bowl hurts.
Yeah, you can't. It's the toleration for debating and joking. We can go back and forth with Falcons fans all day.
No matter what they say to us, we'll always be able to say 28-3. And there's nothing that they can do.
So I'm basing mine on experience. Like I said, like even if the Saints beat the Panthers in New Orleans, like you can still go out at Bourbon Street. Maybe I'm just comparing the cities. Because in Atlanta, what do you do in Atlanta? Like
my second worst ever away game experience was in New Orleans.
Well, you went to the playoff game.
No, not in New Orleans. We've never played down there. No,
I went there last year. What are you talking about?
No.
I thought that's what you were talking about. So Jamie told me this. Actually, sorry. Yeah. Jamie told me the same thing, that it was a very bad experience.
We went. It was Reggie Bush's second year, and you remember the first year. Yeah, Reggie Bush's rookie year, they made it all the way to the NFC title game. Had no business being there. I can't remember who they lost to. Maybe the Bears. It was that long ago, and. Or maybe it was the Eagles? No, maybe it was the Eagles. Anyway, it was a million years ago. And Holly and I, we were, still dating back then, and it was her first football game ever, and we had gone down there for it. And we were sitting upstairs, pretty decent seats, but it got pretty rough for us. And Jake got hurt. Matt Moore got a concussion. And David Carr got a concussion.
Oof.
Then they put him back in the game. After he came, I can't remember who the third. Maybe it was Matt Moore was the third quarterback, and he came in, got hurt, and then they put David Carr back in. David Carr drove them down the field, and John Casey hit a field goal to send them to 0-5, coming off a year where they almost made the Super Bowl. And we had to walk out. Deshaun Foster's family, was it Deshaun Foster? Or
Sounds
feel like it was Deshaun Foster's family. Okay. Was sitting in the section next to us, and there was probably like 20 of them in the group. We had to walk out with them with like 10 people escorting us out security-wise.
No way.
Because the other fans were just losing their shit on it. I mean, it was that bad.
Different experiences. I get it.
Yeah, this was a game where something was on the line. You were a game where nothing was on the line.
Mm-hmm.
So,
right.
I get
basically,
it.
I get it. Not a fair comparison.
Game. Yeah,
true. Fine. I get some comments coming in on Twitter here. You leave them both behind. Stretch out and enjoy the raft. So,
amen. Who said that?
There you go.
I don't know.
They're on the right team. That's what matters.
I know who it is Twitter-wise, but it's a very long name. I don't have a way to explain it to you. Anyway, he knows who he is, or she. I don't even know. I shouldn't say he. Anyway. Yeah, good answers there. We'll get some more questions in next week. Thanks to Anna and Cheeto, we chose those in. We used salesman's question last week. He asked about the food, by the way. That was salesman's question. So, anyway,
what's the question?
It was what's your favorite Southern food, and I said jambalaya. So here I am, the New Orleans guy.
What did I say? I already forgot.
I don't know. You called me out for saying that anything that I eat besides lobster is Southern. So
that's probably true.
Anyway, this was fun tonight. Thanks for Jared for joining in, and thanks for your questions and good topics. We'll be back hopefully next week. Again, we are sponsored by Ortho Carolina. They help us push the show out on the Riot Network. Thanks to them and our Riot Network family one-day contract. It is what it is. And the Roaring Riot podcast. You can check those out over on the Riot Report as well. Happy birthday again, Bobby. This was...
Thanks, guys.
We're happy to have this during your birthday week, and it's officially the new season. By the way, if you play Madden online, I put this out on Twitter. You get all the IR guys back. So Ross Cockrell is back in the secondary.
I can't wait.
So we're back. Like I'm back. Like I've won 4 games in a row. I can actually play defense. Things are good. Things are good on the Madden front. So
that game was 2007.
Oh, wow. Okay, way back.
John Casey hit a 52-yard field goal to win the game.
Very nice.
And it was Deshaun Foster's family.
Yep. Great memory.
Well, yeah, for things like football and music and movies, but anything else important.
I feel you.
Anyway, you can check out the playback of this. It'll be on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. Also over on the riotreport.com/live. You can find our latest episodes. This will be up on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify in the morning. And we roll right on to next week. And hey, that NFL draft, that circled date, Chris, that it has been circled for so long is only a couple clicks of the old calendar away. Like when you click
have you
forward.
bought a flight yet?
No. Let's not be crazy. No, actually, so I got this new app. It's called Hopper. Potential sponsor, by the way. They don't sponsor.
But you still didn't buy a flight?
No, but it tells you when to buy the flight.
Yeah.
So it told me to wait until the end of February. Okay. That's when the flight will be the cheapest.
Yeah,
and what will happen is it probably will be wrong.
Will that take into account special events?
I haven't gone that far. I don't know. But anyway.
This is the largest event Nashville's ever hosted, according to their Convention and Visitors Bureau. So
yeah, no big deal. I'll just get a last minute
flight.
Speaking
of flights, shout out to Zach, man, and everything he's doing to get this get our fans over to London, man. Yep. Zach, you're doing a great job.
That is up. That is up now, right? I should probably know that.
Yeah.
It's officially up, right?
Talk about it.
Yeah, we talked about it last week. Of course, the London trip's there. It's a big one. It's going to be a fun one. So many of those deposits went out today. I was just watching Zach and them going through all the stickers and kind of the deposit packages, and there's just a stack of envelopes, and it's really cool to see the what's the word? I don't know, the excitement, I guess, with Panthers fans to go over to London. It's gonna be a fun one. So
yeah, definitely, man. And Zach, keep your head up, man. I know this stuff gets stressful, man. I know you got some crazy folks probably saying some stuff about the prices, man. But ignore the ignorance, man. Thanks for all you do.
Cool,
I
man.
think Ace Boogie says "Shine through the shade."
There you go.
I believe he has said that. And check out his new YouTube channel too.
Ace,
we didn't even talk
about that. So it's funny. Like obviously, not to dwell on that too much, but obviously Cam has his new YouTube channel. Goes over his off-season surgery. He probably wants himself, Cam Newton versus another Newton. It's 2019. We can do this now. Another Newton throwing out his some false things about him. So he wants to kind of control his own news. And he has his own YouTube channel there, pretty cool. And first video was a surgery, and of course, there's already videos up about him on anesthesia and like trying to, I think, bring him down.
That was pretty funny.
It's like, yeah, it's funny, but like, don't make it like he's like,
Cam can't count.
yeah, like I don't know. It just seems like they were trying to bring him down.
If Cam would spend less time taking drugs to put him to sleep so he can have his shoulder operated on and more time in his playbook, he probably wouldn't be injured.
Cam Newton does drugs in the hospital before surgery.
And could you imagine David Newton's report on this?
Hashtag thug. Anyway.
The thing that makes this amazing is just not just Cam, but it goes to show you that these athletes are ready to take things into their own hands with what's really going. Like when you hear
Kevin Durant too. You saw Kevin Durant today.
Yeah, Kevin Durant's a baby.
Kevin Durant.
It's a little different, but
it's a little.
He's got a track record.
Yeah,
but you know what I mean.
With Cam Newton saying what he's saying, he's like, I want you guys to see firsthand versus hearing it from somebody else. And when athletes get to that point, you know they're tired of it. And I'm gonna be honest with you, man. We've watched the death of a lot of things with the social networking. Do not be surprised to see the death of sports reporters someday soon. Because what Cam is doing.
Let's rephrase that.
No, I'm going to say what I just said. The death of sports reporters. I'm not.
The industry. Yes, not actual reporters.
Yeah. I mean, anybody. Listen, man. I mean, hopefully we have. Some
I just have to clarify that one.
I got you. Yeah, but don't be surprised to see if Cam is a trailblazer in this set. What he just did, because I could see other athletes who may go through off-season surgeries following this. Don't be surprised if this is a trend that happens over the next few years, and you start to see the reporters start to trickle out a little bit, and reporters start to be fired and maybe finding new lines of work, because when you start getting athletes to say, I'm going to report my story, I'm not going to give you a chance to, then especially when you're the star player on the team, a lot of things start to change.
It's true. And it's like how that report of John Wall falling in his house, and people aren't agreeing with it, or aren't believing it. I forget who it was that said, "Why do elite athletes always fall at home?" And
Dustin Johnson did that too.
Yeah, and I said, I don't know, we just
definitely wasn't the cocaine with him. It was fell down he wore socks on stairs. Which...
So, well, that happens. We have hardwood here, and it's new, and I always think there's 6 stairs or whatever it is, but there's 5. Oh boy.
So wait,
so I get that.
I saw the John Wall tore his Achilles. I didn't realize that it didn't happen in a game.
Well, it said he fell at home.
I don't believe that. I believe that's an excuse.
So I don't know. So to your argument, Bobby, controlling your own news can go both ways.
You know what? Let's get in the Wayback Machine here. Remember Panther legend Brashad Breeland?
Go.
Imagine if he would have had, his own social media platform. So like when he's, in Jamaica, not riding 4-wheelers. I stepped on a shell at the beach. Now I've got MRSA.
Yep.
Right.
But not from a 4-wheeler.
Anyway, that's gonna wrap it up. We've time flies by when you're having fun. Isn't that isn't that like a real saying or something?
It is.
Hey, we didn't touch upon the last thing, just real quickly. Steve Smith will be playing in the Celebrity NBA All-Star Game.
I'm glad you brought this up, Den, because I have some real issues with this roster. Some real issues.
You mean the actual roster or the celebrity roster?
The celebrity roster.
Okay. Is it like what's the word? Was it like Rock and Jock? Because they need to bring that back.
Well,
we could shoot like the 25 3-pointer over Bill Bellamy.
I don't think they have the.
And Daisy Fuentes was on there.
Dave Cortez.
Yeah, so that was a great time.
No, the thing that really irked me on this, and he's not working the game, and it would have been perfect because there are former players playing in the celebrity game as well. How do you not put Del Curry in that game? I don't know.
Are
both there for the weekend?
Does that qualify? Like, can they be a player?
I believe I'm double checking it right now.
Like when I think NBA Celebrity All-Star Game, I think like Lady Gaga is covering I don't know, Mariah Carey.
I think you're the only one who thinks that.
Well, whatever. Like I don't think basketball players.
Ooh, it's at Bojangles. I didn't realize that.
Or maybe I'm wrong. Maybe maybe once you hit a certain age, you're considered an NBA celebrity.
Jason Williams is playing in it. Ray Allen's playing in it.
Okay, then there you go. To me, I think there should be maybe one of those or two of those, one on each team, But then
And
it
that's what
should.
I'm saying. How is it?
But then
not
it should
Bill
be
Curry?
like Kid Rock covering like Marky Mark. Yeah.
And Chris Daughtry. Can't we do better than that, guys?
Anyway,
Can't we do better than that?
whatever.
I am pretty stoked that Quavo and JB Smooth are playing, though.
There you go. Well, again, we've gone well over our time here, but we had some fun. Again, I always promote this Roaring Riot Cup because it's my favorite cup that I own. I actually don't know if it's still available on the website, but you should check if it is because you'll probably find some other things that you'd like. Again, check out the riotreport.com this week. There's a scout report. Vincent Richardson has a new podcast over there, The Great British Drafting Show, which is really cool. A lot more write-ups obviously coming for the draft. You can find our episodes over there. Again, subscribe to the podcast. Chris is over at Peppajack NBB. Bobby's at Tacos and Slurpees, always tweeting out fun stuff and hating on my Batman quotes and in pictures, but whatever.
Oh, you know what we forgot to talk about?
Yeah, man, that Bat Boy guy has to go.
We didn't talk about the new Avengers trailer.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like we covered everything else in this.
Yeah, well, hey, we're out of time this week, so
we got Peter Schrager on the line. We'll get to him next week, though. Sorry, Peter.
Peter Schrager and Anquan Bolden are on the line, so we ran out of time for them again. We'll hit them next week, and we'll see you guys again. Keep pounding, guys.
Keep pounding.
Peace.